right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is March 24th, 2025, and we are about to have the final week before all of the tariffs come in. So we were talking about this last week. We were getting ready for it. Friday was a pretty decent day, but now over the weekend, people are talking about targeted tariffs on April 2nd, and that's freeing up a lot of things. So before you get too crazy about it, before you get too excited, I really hope you guys remember what happened about a month ago. This is following the same exact pattern of trade. We go through, we do the rumors. Again, it was Bloomberg who said it. We haven't heard from Trump yet, so I'm sure he will either confirm or deny this rumor, but you're coming into tariffs. Everybody feels scared. Then they feel good because of a leak, and then you're going to probably feel bad right ahead of April 2nd, and then you're going to start feeling good again once we find out what the reality is. So either way, this is a very big reaction right now in the morning. So far, the positive rumor, people are liking it. Tech is doing very good. We got a lot of random data sets. Remember, we're just coming off of Powell. You're going to get consumer sentiment, PC, and a couple of others. I think even PMIs today, and then we'll see where it takes us. So, Chattadonia, I hope you're ready. I hope you got rested, baby, because now the final week of March is upon us. So good morning, baby. What's going on? You got some Apple news coming out right now, too. What up, open face? I saw that first listed. Let's go. Tim Whitman, Ryan Mullins, Zach, Mark, King Kong, baby. Bean, Tyree, Deco, El Trapato, baby. Good morning. What up, Clean? What up, Menace? How you doing, Bushnell? Dystopian, Greg Ale, baby. Dos Nacho, Brown Tom Crows, Dia. Kia, hey, it's Timothy, Mr. Glax, Lucky Soldier, baby. Good morning, Papa Allen, Bruce B, the Tiger Man, Jamal, Chris Saeed, Ty Smith, Noah Drum, Green Candlesticks, Sustain, baby. What's going on? How you doing, Mr. Williams? What up, me Nacho? Good morning, Victor. Oh, my goodness. So, Chad, happy Monday, baby. Oh, Laker J. Good morning. What about that Twitch? Toy Soldier, Zachary Lamb, Stock Sasquatch, Hodlebog, Toy Soldier again, Epic Era, Enjoy Bleach, Payday Devil, Preforms, Blizzy B, The Marketer, Blowing Dough, and Robo Hand Tech in Pie Guy, baby. Good morning. So, Chattadonia, I hope y'all feeling good. I hope y'all feeling blessed. But in the meantime, here is Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Happy Monday. U.S. futures rally as traders dive back into tech. U.S. stock futures rallied with futures on the NASDAQ 100 index surging 1.2%, as traders snapped up beaten down tech shares and took optimism from signs that U.S. tariffs may be more targeted. S&P 500 contacts also gained about 1% in early Monday trading. Tesla Inc. added about 4% in pre-market trading. NVIDIA Corp and Palantir Technologies Inc. rose amid news that Jack Ma's Ant Group company has developed AI techniques that could cut costs by 20%. And meanwhile, the dollar weakened and treasury yields ticked higher. European indexes were broadly little changed. German software developer SAP SE took the spot as Europe's most valuable public company, unseating Danish weight loss drug maker Novo Nordisk AS, whose shares have declined 18% this year. Investors were taking some comfort from indications that President Donald Trump's coming wave of tariffs is poised to be more targeted than the barrage he has occasionally threatened. The administration is not planning separate sectoral specific tariffs to be unveiled at the same event on April 2nd, officials said. This raises the possibility that some sectors and countries may fare better than others, helping explain market optimism, said Daniel Murray, Chief Executive Officer of EFG Asset Management in Zurich. Morgan Stanley strategists are among those who see a turnaround on the horizon for U.S. stocks, a dollar that's down 3.8% from its January peak, and signs of a bottoming out for Magnificent Seven. Earnings could attract flows back to the U.S., they told clients. Elsewhere, investors were keeping an eye on Turkey, where the arrest of Ekrem İmamoğlu, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's main political rival, could spark nationwide protests. The lira fell 0.6% against the dollar, trading near record lows. Clues on the state of the U.S. economy will come later from Purchasing Managers' Indexes. The U.S. print is expected to show the economy remains in expansion mode. Some key events this week: Eurozone HCOB Manufacturing and Services, PMI Monday, UK S&P Global Manufacturing and Services PMI Monday, Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey speaks Monday, US S&P Global Manufacturing and Services PMI Monday, Australia Budget Tuesday, Boao Forum for Asia Tuesday through March 28th, Australia CPI Wednesday, UK CPI Wednesday, Norway Rate Decision Thursday, US Revised 4Q GDP Thursday, Mexico Trade Rate Decision Thursday, Tokyo CPI Friday, U.S. Core PCE Price Index, University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Friday. Trump plans his Tariff Liberation Day with more targeted push. President Donald Trump's coming wave of tariffs is poised to be more targeted than the barrage he has occasionally threatened. Aides and allies say a potential relief for markets gripped by anxiety about an all-out tariff war. Trump is preparing a Liberation Day tariff announcement on April 2nd, unveiling so-called reciprocal tariffs he sees as retribution for tariffs and other barriers from other countries, including longtime U.S. allies. While the announcement would remain a very significant expansion of U.S. tariffs, it's shaping up as more focused than the sprawling, fully global effort Trump has otherwise mused about. Officials familiar with the matter say Ukraine-U.S. hold talks in Riyadh in bid for broad ceasefire. Ukrainian and U.S. officials held talks in Riyadh, resuming efforts to end Russia's full-scale invasion as President Donald Trump pushes for a ceasefire. The discussion on Sunday in Saudi Arabia was productive in focus and addressed key points including energy. Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov said on social media, U.S. and Russian delegates are expected to hold separate talks on Monday. Bayer drops after $2 billion verdict in latest Roundup trial. Bayer AG's shares dropped after the German conglomerate was ordered by a jury in the U.S. state of Georgia to pay almost $2.1 billion to a plaintiff who claimed its Roundup weed killer caused cancer, the latest setback in litigation that has already cost the company about $10 billion. The verdict reached late on Friday includes $65 million in compensatory and $2 billion in punitive damages, according to an emailed statement from plaintiff law firms of Arnold and Itkin LLP and Klein Inspector PC. Top overnight news: President Trump reportedly plans his Tariff Liberation Day with a more targeted push, according to Bloomberg, citing officials. While it was noted that Trump will announce widespread reciprocal tariffs on nations or blocs, but is set to exclude some, and the administration is currently not planning separate sectoral-specific tariffs to be unveiled at the same event as Trump had once signaled. Furthermore, WSJ also reported that the White House narrows April 2nd tariffs and that tariffs on industrial sectors such as cars and microchips are no longer expected to be announced, although major trading partners will still be hit with reciprocal tariffs. The news has been a relief for markets gripped by anxiety about an all-out tariff war. Trump signed a memorandum aimed at preventing abuses of the legal system in federal courts and directed the Attorney General to seek sanctions against lawyers and law firms that engage in frivolous, unreasonable, and vexatious litigation against the U.S. government or departments and agencies of the government. U.S. President Trump's administration revoked temporary legal status for 530,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans in the U.S. effective April 24th. U.S. Treasury is considering streamlining bank regulators, according to Semaphore. Treasury is drafting recommendations on OCC and FDIC. A U.S. proposal to levy Chinese-built ships docking in America would spark a trade apocalypse and has the potential to be devastating for the U.S. economy. Maritime experts warned. A two-day USTR hearing in Washington starts today. BBG. Ant-built AI models that cost 20% less using Chinese-made chips with results similar to those from NVIDIA. BBG. China said it was ready for any unexpected shocks ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump imposing higher tariffs on the world's second biggest economy. FTI. The PBOC will inject 450 billion yuan, $62 billion of liquidity into the market through one-year medium-term lending facility tomorrow. BBG Japan Services PMI sank in Mar, with manufacturing coming in at 48.3, down from 49 in Feb, and services at 49.5, down from 53.7 in Feb. RTRS, India's equity rout, is starting to worry its legion of retail investors. Inflows into domestic mutual funds have dropped about 30% from October's record, and the influx of new entrants has slowed to a 2-year low. BBG Eurozone flash PMIs for Mar are mixed, with decent performance on manufacturing, 48.7, up from 47.6 in Feb, and above the street's 48.2, but weakness in services, 50.3, down from 50.6 in Feb, and below the street's 51.1. And BBG, the UK economy showed signs of improvement, with S&P Global's Purchasing Managers Index jumping to a 6-month high of 52 in March. BBG Turkish court formally arrested Istanbul Mayor Imamoglu after prosecutors asked the court to keep Imamoglu and 4 aides in jail pending their trial on terrorism and corruption charges. It was also reported that Turkey's central bank governor said in a meeting with bank executives that the central bank will do whatever is necessary within market rules, while the Capital Markets Board announced a ban on short selling on the Istanbul Stock Exchange until April 25th, eased the equity ratio requirement for credit capital markets transactions, and removed the maximum limit for the total amount to be used for share buybacks of listed companies. BBG. There's a more. Good morning. S&P futures, they're up by 1.2 Monday morning, near the best pre-market levels. Comes after U.S. equities finished mostly higher last week, with the S&P and NASDAQ both snapping a 4-week losing streak. Bounce came despite big tech underperformance. Treasuries weaker across the curve, with yields up 3 to 4 basis points. Dollars down by 0.2. Gold is up by 0.3. Bitcoin futures up by 4.2. And WTI is up by 0.5. What's this? MLGO? Well, we've seen this before. Market supported by weaker trade headlines. Trump's April 2nd tariff announcement reportedly will be narrower than initially planned, excluding some nations and sectoral specific tariffs. Report to follow Trump comments last Friday about flexibility with the reciprocal tariff plan. However, situation remains fluid, and lingering uncertainty around Trump tariffs and retaliation have raised skepticism about the announcement on April 2nd as a clearing event. Also, more talk about trade uncertainty as a risk to both Q1 and 2025 consensus earnings estimates. Still, stretch valuations mentioned as another overhang. However, one more positive commentary around cleaner positioning and a tailwind for equities from outsized rebalancing flows. Flash PMIs on the U.S. economic calendar this morning. Both manufacturing and service PMIs expected to remain in expansion in March. Fed Bostic and Barr scheduled to speak this afternoon. Conference Board consumer confidence. Richmond Fed and new home sales out on Tuesday, while Fed's William also speaks this morning. Durable goods orders are the highlight on Wednesday, along with comments from Fed Kashkari and Musalem. Thursday brings final GDP and pending home sales, as well as comments after the close from Fed Barkin, personal income spending, core PCE, and final University of Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday, followed by an afternoon comments from Fed Bostic. Coming in this week also brings in $183 billion in Treasury supply via 2, 5, and 7-year note auctions. Not much corporate news. Meta and OpenAI each seeking potential alliance with India's Reliance Industries. Disney Snow White remake, which was a hit with a flurry of negative pre-release publicity, performed poorly at the box office during opening weekend. ALC announced a deal to acquire LNSR. Kenvue reportedly under activist pressure to consider full or sale of separation of some assets. AZEK to be acquired by James Hardie Industries in a cash and stock deal valued at approximately $8.75 billion. FNMA and FMCC in the headlines again, with the reports that White House could issue executive order on housing directing departments to study privatization. DNB to be acquired. RPD reportedly near settlement with activist Jana Partners. There's more. White House presuming narrow tariff agenda for April 2nd, omitting industry specifics and implying reciprocals on a group of countries that account for the bulk of foreign trade. U.S. retailers haggle behind the scenes with their suppliers over proposed price hikes after Trump. Broad cross-action American investment business dialing up opposition. Trump admin plans to impose U.S. fees on China ships. GOP senator says fentanyl issue needs resolution before U.S. and China talk on tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Bank of Japan Ueda repeats rate hikes to continue. Finance Minister Kato says Japan yet to beat beat deflation. Sticky domestic inflation keeps Bank of Japan on track for rate hike as Trump tariffs make for uncertain policy outlook. ECB Cipollini says case to keep lowering borrowing costs has strengthened since the last decision. Eurozone PMI shows economic resilience with manufacturing revival. UK PMIs hit 6-month highs, showing tentative signs of a turnaround after months of stagnation. Japan flash PMIs weaken. Service sector falls into contraction amid cost pressures. Wall Street's American exceptionalist trade has been shattered in recent weeks on the fallout of Trump policies. Data-hungry traders anxious about the U.S. economy scour every economic report for nuggets of fresh info. Falling stock markets and policy uncertainty hinder takeover and IPO activity, prompting a reassessment by deal makers. Bipartisan Policy Center says U.S. could breach the debt ceiling sometime between mid-July and October if Congress does not act. Doge effort to combat fraud in Social Security, risking agency's longstanding mission to serve the public, current and former staff at the agency say. Some of Trump supporters express complicated feelings about Musk as his advisor. Source indicates significant gaps between Russia and Ukraine could delay a ceasefire agreement. Delegates will see progress on a broader cessation of violence between Ukraine and Russia and pursue Black Sea ceasefire. National Security Advisor Waltz confirms U.S. aims for the full dismantling of Iran's nuclear program. PM Carney calls snap election for Canada, citing crisis caused by Trump. Greenland PM calls trip by U.S. delegation highly aggressive as White House ramps up pressure on the island. Turkey jails Istanbul mayor before trial, fueling protests and opposition of anger. South Korea Constitutional Court restores PM as acting president. Malaysia plans tighter controls over the flow of NVIDIA chips after U.S. demanded it keep a closer eye on advanced semiconductors that could send to China. White House could issue executive order on housing directing departments to study privatization of Fannie and Freddie. Kenvue holders Tom's Capital Management pushing for full sale or separation of some assets. Elliott builds significant stake in Sumitomo Realty and Development. Elliott discloses 5% stake in RW German's biggest utility. And Rapid7 settlement with activist investor Jana. Wow. We got a little bit of time where I think we're on good timing. We got to hurry, though. We got to hurry. There's a lot of pre-market movers. Not all of them have news. I think it's literally just because of this big gap up here on the positive tariff announcement. And hopefully you didn't forget the tariff game plan. You know, that's it. We're going to do a lot of back and forth. But pre-market movers, Pure Storage up 5, Coherus up 4.7, Raymond James upgrade, PRMB up 4.5. Apparently in reaction to viral social media video featuring Saratoga water. Oh, is that why they're up? You're kidding me. That's hilarious. So you guys know that video of that super buff dude who takes the banana peels and then dips his head in the ice water? That's hilarious. I did not know that. PRMB is the stock. Yeah, because now you have a bunch of kids buying these $30 water bottles and then pouring it in a bucket to make the parody videos. Yeah, that's hilarious. No, PRMB in reaction to viral social media video featuring Saratoga water. I did not realize that till right now. That's hilarious. AUR is up 4.4, Pins up 4.3, Guggenheim initiates upgrade, Bros is up by 4.2, Morgan Stanley initiates overweight, Affirm is up by 3.3, C-Search Research initiates neutral, STLD is up by 4 off earnings. DNB is up by 3.3 to be acquired by Clear Lake Capital for $9.15. XHLD is up by 60. Yash is up by 19. HUIZ up 9.3. OSER up 8.7. 40 million stock buyback. CYRX UBS upgrade. LAES up 6.8 to acquire 30% stake in WeCan Group. Bitcoin related stocks trading higher, trading lower. JHX is down by 10 to acquire at AZEC for $8.75 billion. GMAB down 3.8. Alleged claims of trade secret misappropriations by Abivai. LMT down 2.1. Bank of America downgrade. Melius Research downgrade. Sorrow down 1.9. 30 million offering. ME down 44. Initiates involuntary or voluntary Chapter 11 proceedings. UBX down 27. Investor relations. IBO down 16 after the stock went up 139 on Friday. Wow. So there you have it. There you have it. Tariffs and the hype. You got a couple of plays. Saratoga water. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know. Actually, I do know what to tell you. I know exactly the thing that we could talk about and tell you. And that all of it is fun and games. And you have all this opportunity. People pouring $30 water bottles into a glass to put their face in it. All sorts of things. And you could do it all because you have freedom. That's what I want to talk about. And that's what we do every morning, baby. We honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice, because while we try to go and do our thing and live this life, if we didn't have those before us who made such an honorable commitment to this country, oh, we would not be here right now. That's why before we chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, the least we could do is honor those who made that sacrifice. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the cult, the people here, the people not here, want to give a huge special shout out, active servicemen, past servicemen, anybody who has served this country, even the families. Thank you for giving up so much for our freedom. I hope you know not only is it honorable, but if anybody deserves a log term and property and all that, it is you guys. So let us help. And all of you out there, man, if you haven't served, I hope you could give them a thank you. And even in real life, man, bring this culture, show the veterans the love and appreciation they deserve, because we wouldn't be here without them, baby. Again, $6 billion, we could stop all homeless veteran problems. I know, isn't that crazy? $6 billion, a fraction of all student loan forgiveness. But on that note, baby, big shout out to the veterans and big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities, doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, everybody making their community run. God bless you and thank you, baby. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise up. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Oh. Son of the Jets! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, nah, let's go. Oh, Chadadonia. Oh, we got good time. We got perfect time. We got plays. We got info. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, baby. So I hope you guys are locked and loaded. We'll go over plays here in a second. Again, I mean, even from last Friday, that little value rotation, and even now, you know, you got people talking about this tariff thing, but I hope you guys are ready for the volatility. So that being said, let's have a fun 7 hours here, God willing, but now it's time. We must go to Gen Pop. Gen Pop in plays, baby. The plays will be in Gen Pop, so protect yourself, get a long term. That's how you make sure you stay safe out there, and that's it. And that's it, baby. All right, GG's. I'll see you guys there. Good morning. Happy Monday.